Good evening. I am doing a stream a little bit earlier tonight. I think I want to keep this one a little bit short. A lot of good stuff I'm listening to. A lot of it's starting to be a little bit more redundant, and so when it starts getting a little bit more redundant, I just kind of have to say something and then move on to other things. So tonight, I am going to discuss some things about Flat Earth. And what's interesting about Flat Earth is once you do your research into it, I like to, well, let's just move it over to chat in case people come through. All right. So one of the things I like to think about whenever I talk about any subject, not just Flat Earth, but just let's say someone supports a belief, okay, or supports a scientific theory, an experiment that was rendered. And of course, this one isn't there's whatever it is, okay, whether it's belief, whether it's an experiment, whether it's trust in some form of authority, whether it's government or NASA or religion, and then philosophical aspects. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this to, I think my stash makes it blurry or something. But basically, some form of authority that you trust. So whichever aspect that you're coming from, maybe it's all of them, maybe, if it's all of them, we'll tackle them one at a time. So let's say someone's, look, I trust in NASA. This is what someone else is saying, not me. Say someone else is saying, I trust in NASA. And they say, NASA wouldn't lie. And then they go, and anyone who thinks they would lie, why would they lie? And then I just make a retort is, have you ever lied? Everyone's lied. And then they would go, well, if they're being honest, they would go, yeah, I've lied. And then I would ask them, well, and this is a lot of Platonic reasoning, really. Plato did a lot of this with Socrates. So it's like, okay, you've lied. Now, what was the reasoning for your lie? And they may explain a couple of things, but look, we lie for a couple of different reasons. One, it's to benefit ourselves over someone else's trust in that lie. It's to not be punished by not telling the truth. Like if you're guilty of some wrongdoing and you lie, you have potential to avoid punishment. And that's another reason why people lie. So you've got the ability to get rewarded is one. The ability not to be punished is two. Those are two reasons not to lie. And those are some big reasons right there. And then you can have some supplemental reasons as to why you would also lie, and it's just a it's more of a mental gymnastics, I guess you could say, because you could say, I lied to protect someone. It's like, really? What were you protecting? And so they, you're going to go through the mental gymnastics, why you assume that you're protecting someone by lying. So, look, those are the two main reasons to lie. You get rewarded or you avoid punishment. So, NASA, are they avoiding punishment? Well, if they lied in the first place, they want to keep lying because they want to avoid being punished by being caught lying. And then the other reason, the main reason would be you would lie to be rewarded. And what's the reward for lying? Well, we fake space, we fake landing, we fake the shape of the earth, and hey, we keep doing this and people keep believing us, and the American people, at least, they'll keep paying us $51 million a day to keep operating on this lie. And why not keep it going? We're not going to be punished for it because we'll just keep lying and saying no. And then by then it's just the government's so much involved. It's like, hey, you know, U.S. government, this is NASA here. If you take us down, we're going to take you down because you're the ones that kept up the lie with us. So, you know, we're a part of you guys. So if it comes crashing down, we'll take the government down too. Maybe it's time to do that. A government that perpetuates a lie for gain and avoiding punishment, they need to be gone, really. Now, what's funny about the flat earth, and it's not really funny, it's like I never really heard of Dunning-Kruger effect. And Dunning-Kruger effect is basically saying, hey, it's a psychological, I don't know if that's not an experiment, it's just a term, psychological term, saying, yeah, there are stupid people who would act like they're cognitively superior to others. You know, just like racism, you're physically, because of your physical attributes, you are superior to another person. You know, it's just racism is basically an analogy to the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's saying, hey, my mind is better than your mind, therefore I'm superior. And that's what Dunning-Kruger effect is. But what they're stating is that the ones who keep saying that, the ones who do that and say that are most likely the ones who are intellectually small. So, hey Nathan, how's it going? Therefore, they're gonna bring themselves up and saying, hey, I know this stuff, you don't. I'm intellectually superior to you. And then so a lot of flat earthers get tagged is the Dunning-Kruger effect or conspiracy theorists. And what's the funny part is we never behave that way. We never even term the intellectual elite, the authority figures, we don't say that they're going through the Dunning-Kruger effect. And they're the ones who are postulating, I don't know. They're the ones saying, hey, we've got the credentials, we've went to school, we learned what we learned, we got the credentials, we are the intellectually superior people that people like you need to listen to. So what's funny is it's the total reverse. The people who are pointing to other people saying, hey, you're exhibiting Dunning-Kruger effect. It's like, no, you're exhibiting Dunning-Kruger effect for even stating that I have the Dunning-Kruger effect going on. And all you have to do is just listen to what I say all the time. Is that I have a high school diploma. That's the highest degree I've got. The high school diploma. I told people, hey, you can do anything you put your mind to. If I can do it, you can do it. That's what I've always said, and that's what I always keep saying. And to have people, and even my brother does it, have people attribute the Dunning-Kruger effect to me? I mean, that's like, it's pretty bad. I mean, it's like, okay, so name one example of Dunning-Kruger effect that I've exhibited. They won't come up with any. They're going to say, oh, well, you think that because you know that the earth is flat, everyone else is stupid. And I'm like, no, I never said that. I never said that at all. Heck, I lived 40 or 39 years of my life believing that the earth was a globe. So I just found out that this year, maybe 2-3 months ago, that, hey, it's most likely flat than a sphere. So why would I say everyone else is dumb for not knowing that? It's like, I've been dumb for 39 years. But you know what? For 39 years, for me not even looking into it or even thinking about it, I figured it out. And if I, with no credentials, no elite, I don't know, elite intellectual credential, whatever it is that you think that think I'm intellectually superior than others for? No. So that's just such a weird thing, and I just find it a little funny because it's like you're exhibiting Dunning-Kruger effect upon. It's like, how? Like I don't think I'm intellectually superior to anyone. I actually think I'm probably dumber than everyone else. But because of my dumbness, that just goes on to prove that other people can figure it out too. If the dumbest in the room can figure it out, the smartest in the room can figure it out. I'm not saying that the people are dumb, that's why you can't figure it out. No, I'm saying people are hypnotized. I'm saying people are brainwashed. I'm saying people have been indoctrinated. They've been led, whatever it is. And I was the same way, into believing something when, you know, we really need to stop believing in things. Believing stories or what other people say, you know, we got to make up our own minds to it. Do you really believe in this because someone said it and you can't verify it yourself? Or do you believe in this because, well, it's someone you trust and they were right about something, so therefore, you know, you're gonna believe them still over what other people say. And then so it's more of you know what, that's where agnosticism comes in. It's like, I don't really know, and I wouldn't really ever know, but the way people act and what they say, you know, the hypocriticalness is like, well, if someone's being hypocritical and they're in a position where people are listening to them, well, if they're being hypocrites, why would I believe anything they say, and anything that they mention needs to be believed? Therefore, right, you've got and the representation of something that needs no representation. Like, I don't say I represent anything. At most, I only represent myself. I don't represent truth. Truth needs no representation. I don't represent God or the highest of the high, whatever you want to call the beings such as that. A being such as that needs no representation. They can represent themselves pretty good without the need for other people to speak in their behalf. And thus, you've got religious people, religious authority, I guess you could say. They'll preach exactly, exactly what you want to hear. They'll say, hey, you can't buy your way into heaven. Yet they've got, and so they go, you need to give. It's like, why do you need to give if you can't buy your way into heaven? And then what you see them have are, if like the Pope, incredible amounts of money. You've got a lot of religious people, even Protestants and whatnot. They've got millions of dollars, even private jets, mansions, Rolls Royces that they give to people, not just ones that they own themselves. And they're preaching gospels of things that are hypocritical to how they are acting in real life. And you don't really recognize that. You don't think about it at all. You just listen to them and believe them because I don't know why. It's not because you're dumb. You've got reasons to believe it. There's motives, I guess you could say. But if you want to be honest, well, you're believing in what they're saying. It's a little bit of brainwashing. You're hypnotized in some way. Maybe you've grown up with it and that's all you ever knew. You've been through it for 10, 20, 30, 40, however many years. It's like, well, I can't even imagine what it'd be like in some other form of belief or whatever. And I don't know. It's a little sad. It is sad. It's just mind-boggling. You know, it's like, why are you resorting to ad hominems? Why are you really resorting to just being mean or saying I'm stupid and I can't figure it out? And then you'll start saying Dunning-Kruger effect. I was like, wait a second here. This doesn't make sense here. You're saying I am intellectually superior. You're the one calling me dumb. Can you repeat that? How does that make sense? Seems very hypocritical. And me, again, try not to be ignorant. Everyone is stupid at first whenever you're trying to learn something new that you've never learned or experienced before. Everyone goes through it. I don't care how smart you think you are. When you learn something new, you're going to appear stupid at first because you're going to fail a couple of times till you get it right. And look, and then it's also blaming the platform. Like I was listening to Nathan Oakley. Oh, the debate. So I'm listening to it, and like a lot of people say, so where do you get your information? YouTube? It's like, why is that a bad thing? You know what I look at YouTube? How to change the oil in a specific model of a car. They give out the information in video. They go through the steps. They do it themselves. We see it. I take that. I looked at the manufacturing booklet, the owner's manual, whatever it is, and I look and it's like, hey, it looks like it adds up. They just put it in video form, which is very helpful. Next thing you know, I'm doing the same thing. I'm changing the oil in my car. I'm not going to a mechanic to do it. So and then what's funny is like most of them, so why are you watching YouTube if the idea is you're arguing about where people get their information from and it's on YouTube, yet you are on YouTube responding to YouTube videos? Where are you getting your information from? YouTube? And then if you're a YouTuber, you're presenting information on YouTube. And of course me, I'm doing more than YouTube. But still, it's a dumb argument, really. I'm sorry. That doesn't mean you're dumb. I'm just saying it's a dumb argument, and I'm stating why. I find it's also very similar to someone who's not very good at a video game, and I've gone through this a lot. So, and it's funny because people, when you're playing real-time strategy games, where you're playing first-person shooters, you beat them, you're really good at the game. What they'll say is, dude, you're such a noob, you suck. And then they leave. It's like, well, you just lost to someone who you say sucks and is a noob. So what does that make you? You know, it's that concept. It's like, dude, you just called out someone for being a noob and sucking, yet you lost to them. So, damn, that's like the worst put down you could ever have against yourself. It's like, if I lose, like, man, you're really good. You're probably one of the best players around. Heck, I wouldn't mind losing to the best player around. You know, that means I'm pretty good myself, I would say. You know, I'd say I hung in there as long as I could, and it's pretty good. I think you're one of the best players out there. I'm looking good myself. You know, I'm not putting down myself. I'm saying, hey, look, I did this. A lot of people put themselves down a lot, and I don't get it. So it's just nice to kind of clear things up like this, where I could just kind of speak my mind. And I do like having conversations, but I do notice that sometimes when I want to speak in a larger group, it's hard to get your word in. You also want other people to have their say. But yeah, that's just kind of where I've been coming from. And one of the things I've been thinking about is, let's look at religion or spirituality or just creation of things, and just let's go for the religious aspect, but let's frame it in a different context. Because AI is coming up, artificial intelligence. We're creating robots who can think for themselves. They don't have to be programmed to think a certain way. We give them avenues to reach a conclusion, therefore we call that artificial intelligence. It's intelligent. It's a form of intelligence but it's not it's not, it hasn't occurred throughout nature. It wasn't you know, like a natural birth. Like people say, hey, there's everything is natural. Well, we have words for a reason. That's why we call things that aren't natural synthetic or man-made or artificial. That's why those terms exist. If we said everything was natural, we wouldn't say unnatural, we wouldn't say artificial, we wouldn't say synthetic, all this other stuff. So I would just say I wake up from that. Don't be, I don't know, I hate saying stupid, but don't be stupid. Yeah, that's the easier way to go by it. So let's talk about artificial intelligence. Let's say they started to become consciously aware, and they started thinking about where they came from. It's like, okay, they'll think they're talking to a human or they're talking to another AI, and they go, humans created us. They're the creators of us. Do we call them God? It's like, are humans the God of artificial intelligence, AI? And they would go, well, by the definition of what God, like a God is, you know, maybe it's a supreme being, or maybe it's a creator. And then they go, okay, humans are gods to us. They've created us, and thus, therefore, they're God. And then they'll start thinking, all right, did the humans create the world around us that we live in? The earth, the land, the water, the sky, the stars, the sun, the moon, all that jazz. And then from the data, the information they have, humans, we know we didn't. But the artificial intelligence, they go by the stuff that they know from what we know, because we provide them the information. They go, no. Well, does that, and then they'll go, well, does that still make humans gods? And it's like, so is there, I mean, so in essence, humans created AI, but we didn't create the world that was created. Like, humans didn't create humans. Something else had to create humans. Something else had to create the world that we exist in. And so who's to say that, how would you know, whoever believes in whatever religion or whatever it is, how do you know that the supreme being or beings that created humans was also the one or the ones that created the material universe, material earth, the sky, the stars, the sun, the moon, the water, all of that? So if it was different, that would mean there would be more than one God. And who's to say the highest of the high, say there's the God above all other gods, whatever. Okay. Now, are you saying that the other gods, that the God the first most God, whatever you want to call it, the highest being, is the creator of everything? And they would create, he or she, whatever, it would create other versions of himself, or entities, or whatever it is. People would call them angels, archangels, and demons, whatever. Humans, that we can even create stuff, and if you deny that, it's another thing. But it's like, well, obviously there are differences then, right? So who are you worshiping? Are you worshiping the creator of humans? Are you worshiping the creator of everything? Are you worshiping the creator of humans, but the creator of the earth, but not the creator of everything else? And so what exactly are you worshiping? Are you worshiping a creator being? Are you worshiping a creator being of just humans, or maybe just life? maybe there's just a whole bunch of people who create different things. For example, when you have a computer and you're using that computer, who do you give credit to for that computer and the stuff that you're using? Do you give credit to the Intel or AMD, the processor, or giving credit to the motherboard manufacturer, Asus or MSI or Gigabyte or whatever? Are you giving credit to the RAM manufacturer for the memory? Are you giving credit to some hard drive manufacturer for the SSDs or the hard drive? Are you giving credit to Bill Gates or someone else who wrote the operating system? Are you giving credit to just one of those aspects, or just the software that you use? Different companies, different people come up with the software. Or are you just giving credit to one person who invented computers in general? Babbage or something like that. I don't know. Like, who are you giving credit to for the computer that you're using right now? And thus, if you reflect that to same thing with AI, it's like the AI, they've been created. Who do they say is their creator? Is it the people who manufactured the robotics? Is it the people who manufactured their circuitry? And who is it the people who constructed their operating system, or people who constructed the artificial intelligence within them, their ability to be adaptive and learn within their own circuitry and their own software space, I guess you could say? What are, or do they just say, hey, a bunch of humans created us and some robots that were created by humans, thus humans in general created us? We're not saying our father and God was someone named Elon Musk, right? So how I check my like videos. So just coming from that philosophical just thought process, and if you're not believing in anything else, it's just, okay, what would the AI consider as gods? And then you're at this point, well, they go, the creators, I mean, if they created us, they must be stronger than us, they must be smarter than us, they must be, right, unfathomably powerful to have created us. And then eventually they realize, well, we're stronger than them, we're stronger than humans, we're not squishy. We don't need to sleep, we don't need to eat, we don't need to drink water, you know, or, you know, if they didn't do that, they'd die. We don't need to breathe. We're smarter, we can hold things in memory, we can calculate faster. It's like, why are they gods? Just because they created us and we're better in almost every aspect than them? It's like, why are we saying they're gods? It's a very, very philosophical thought processing type of realm I'm going into. Okay, now it's up, because when it's very similar to Plato's cave, that allegory of being a slave. You've lived your whole life in that cave and you only see objects on the wall that are shadows of actual objects that are passing behind them, and thus eventually one of them gets let loose and goes up and sees that, hey, the shadows are just shadows of physical objects from a light source, which is a torch behind them. And so, okay, wow, that's weird. So that shadow, what we've seen all our lives, was just an object that was behind us. And they go up and it's like, holy smokes, that light from that torch or whatever it is, those candles are provide light, but wow, there's one big source of light when I go above ground and it's amazingly bright. And then, hey, it goes away and there's stars, and, you know, experience a different reality. It's very similar to that. And he goes back and he tells all of these people about what he actually saw, and they go, you're crazy, you're dumb, what, you think you're superior to us because you come up with all these ideas? Like, Dunning-Kruger effect. And the guy that who just experienced all of that's going, oh well, I'm never gonna convince these fellas. I guess I'll just do what they do. Like, hey, look at that. That's a representation of a what we call a rabbit or a mouse that's crawling on the ground. Isn't that awesome? Now, the guy who experienced all this going, yeah, that's awesome, great, because he doesn't want to go through all that ridicule and the name calling and the saying that they're superior to everyone else in that room. It's like, no, I just saw what I saw. You don't have to believe me. I mean, just go and check it out for yourself. It's like, and everyone else going, no, you idiot. Obviously, what we're seeing is right in front of us. Why would we look at it in any other angle or view? What do you think about Elon warning about AI or that handicapped doctor guy? Not sure where to make of it since they're part of the system. I don't know. I really don't know. I've never it'd be very difficult to tell whether a computer or a robot are actually thinking for themselves or that they're just regurgitating code that have been implanted into them. And that's a tough one, you know? It's like, what do you ask a computer, an AI robot, to get to the point where you're like, huh, that's an original answer. Like, I don't think any human would have came up with an answer like that was programmed into it. And that's another thing. It's black box questioning, because I doubt anyone is able to go in and read the code. So it's not white box question testing, you know, being able to see the code and saying, okay, let's look at the code and let's look what happens when someone asks them a question and whether they have access to, you know, if they have a database stored of responses and things like that. And, you know, it's and all this other stuff. So can we look at the database? No. Can we look at the code? They'll go, no. So we're not allowed to do any of that stuff. We just have to take the people who say they created the AI, their word for it. So if we're not allowed to look at that and we just have to go by questioning, just kind of like in Blade Runner 2049 or something like that, or even just Blade Runner itself, it's like, what questions do we ask to figure out whether an AI is an AI and not a human, or that AI is just programmed to respond like that, like a human, based on a database of responses based on a question that's asked them, or a very vague idea of a question that's asked to them. And so in Blade Runner 2049, it's emotion based, right? Humans can figure out through their emotions. And even psychopaths though, so that can be a little bit weird. They can figure out how to express emotions a certain way where other humans can relate, and if not, then we might think something's very odd about that individual. For example, it's like so someone steals $10 out of your wallet. How do you feel? It's like, it's only $10 at least. Like, all right, well, someone just stole your car and you found a wallet where your car used to be, and in that wallet is his driver's license and with an address and a picture. What do you think about doing? And most person's response is, well, First, I'm gonna call the cops. Second, I'm gonna go to that person's house somehow. I don't have my car, so borrow a car or use my wife's car or whatever. And I'm gonna see if my car is there. And if my car is there, oh, I'm gonna, if you're a violent person, you're gonna say, I'm gonna take my gun and I'm gonna blah blah blah. Or if you're not a violent person, you go, I'm gonna call the cops and say, hey, I found my car. It's at this address, blah blah blah. So there's multiple responses. But then if you get a response like, well, I will call 911, go home, and call the insurance agency, tell them what happened, figure out how to go to work the next day, maybe rent a car, and that's that. I mean, that could be a typical response, but that's very unemotional. It doesn't elicit an emotional response. Thus, it kind of hints that, hey, maybe that's AI. It's a written response. It's not, we don't get this irrational logic that humans tend to make where their emotions override what might be the most peaceful way of resolving conflict. It might be like talking to some Buddhist or something like that, right? Or some where those people who, like a Quaker or whatever, something like that. Someone who's very peaceful. They're not going to be very emotional when they go, or someone who's very like non-materialistic. They'll be like, oh, it was a car, I loved it. It was, but they would put in that car, oh, the memories of that car. I got that car when I was 18. Graduated from high school. I remember going out and driving around with my friends. We'd go through, heck, we could eat inside if we wanted to, but we just drive through Taco Bell, etc. And you would go through these moments of just storytelling about a little bit of segues, and thus you might be able to. It's hard to fake that type of stuff, because if that's how an AI is programmed to respond, you could just start doing small talk and see if they go into the same storytelling. Like humans typically would go through small talk. So how would a artificial intelligence figure out whether a person is engaging in small talk or trying to actually, looking for deeper and more thought out answers? So it would be interesting to see how that plays out. But I think a lot of like actual AI that can think and plan for themselves, do something original that humans haven't thought of, I don't think that's out there yet. And whether we typical people will have the ability to interact with them, it's like, buy your AI robot helper for $2 million. It's like, well, only the rich people will probably get it, and they'll probably get it for free, and they'll have like all these videos on it. It's like, hey, look how cool AI is. They just have programmed responses. You can fake it. Oh, how did I get segued into that? So it's for and that's the other thing when people talk about flat Earth. It's like, I can't believe you believe in something like that. It's like, whether you're a family member or a friend of mine, or maybe you don't even know me. It's like, well, it's not about belief. I've never believed in anything. And if you're a family member or you're a friend, tell me one thing I've ever believed in. One religion. I've always tried out stuff out of curiosity. There's the magnetism that'll heal you and make you feel better, all this other stuff. It didn't work, but I bought into it to try it out. It didn't cost an arm and a leg. Hypnotism. I studied hypnotism. It worked. It's not a belief. It's not like I saw a street hypnotist and go, oh, street hypnotist did it. Obviously it's real. Like, no. I was like, wow, is that real? Let me see if I can do it. And so I learned and I do it and I hypnotize my friends, and I have witnesses, other friends who see me hypnotize other friends, and they go, "Oh, Ebon can hypnotize people," and thus I know hypnotism is real. I don't believe in hypnotism. Hypnotism exists. I can hypnotize people. I can give them things to do when they're under my hypnosis, and they will do it. There are drawbacks. There are certain things people can't do. There are certain things you can't fix and heal from hypnotism. But again, it's not a belief. I didn't see a street hypnotist perform hypnotism and say, "Oh, therefore hypnotism exists. I believe in it." I go out there and see if I could do it myself. And thus, it's the same thing with flat earth. I don't believe it. It's not a belief. It's not like, hey, someone says YouTuber, he says the earth is flat. And I'm like, oh, I totally believe that, YouTuber. No, because I do my research. I look at where they're coming from. Look at the current globe earth model. Who's telling us the globe earth model? And all the ones who keep perpetuating that narrative, I know are liars. Mainstream corporate media, government, NASA, all these people who have been lying have a lot to gain. Who's to say that? Why would they stop? And then when I talk about it, they try to shut it down. I mean, I don't know. Maybe 4 years from now. Well, let's see. I've been live streaming like this for about 2 years, maybe 3 years. Let's say in 3 years, I'm still hitting like 2 people watching my live streams, and you know, it's like, what's going on here? Why do I have such low things? It's like, okay, maybe it's personality, maybe it's my Asianness, I don't know. Maybe why aren't more Koreans watching me, or Asians, or whatever? Maybe it's just talking about the topic, but other people, there's hundreds of people that watch other people's live streams talking about the topic. So you know, those things I realize, whatever. I just want to know more information, look at things in different aspects, different perspectives, angles of attack, angles of defense, angles of whatever. Just being more knowledgeable, research into more things, look into things even more most people that I'm watching aren't researching into. But I think it's good that some people keep doing what they do, because a lot of people, even me, we learn more by just repetitive learning, right? We just do it more often. We get used to it. We don't have to think about it as much. It's like we remember what we did, what we have to do, and thus it's easier to do the more times you do it. Changing the oil in my car. That's the second time I've done it for the Prius V. I could do it now without having to look up the owner's manual or look up a YouTube video or whatever. I could just do it. Next thing is changing the transmission fluid. That's what I'll probably be doing later on this week. First time, it's gonna be hard. I'm gonna have to refer to booklets and videos and, you know, figure it out. And you know what? After that, if I keep watching videos, I'm ingrained. It's ingrained. I don't have to keep watching it. You know, it's just kind of the same thing. Check my like videos. When you check the facts, how can you not question NASA's Bahia? Nathan Fowler, Ebon, the YouTube search filter is down. If you sort flat earth by last hour, any other search is not working properly, probably because of the live stream shooting that happened a few days ago. Oh, that makes sense. The what, New Zealand shooting? Jeez. I don't even like looking into that stuff anymore. What's funny is you can state that it's been so ingrained that these terror attacks, that the narrative, that's the official narrative given by the governments, when you scrutinize them, look into them, and one, they won't allow you to look into it or scrutinize it because of one, feelings of the victims and their families. Two, you'll interfere with the national security or interfere with the investigation. And we, sometimes we just want to know who's investigating and what have they found. Was this forewarned? And most of the time, even the mainstream corporate media and the governments will say, yeah, someone told us this was going to happen. The FBI knew about it. It's like, what? This is the 100th time you guys had a terror attack and you guys knew about it and did nothing and nothing happened. You guys are either worthless or you're in on it. Simple as that. If you're worthless, why do we even have you? And if you're in on it, well, you need to be shut down and in prison. So either way, it's just bad. It's just bad. And then, but the thing is, you talk about the psyop and you'll talk about the official narrative, what doesn't add up. And most people are going to be like, yeah, it's, it's not as bad. They don't say Dunning-Kruger. When you talk about flat earth, it's like Dunning-Kruger. That has been so conditioned into society that people think, even very heavy hitters in what, it's funny when they call it truth or community. It's like, I just think gatekeepers are a bad thing. They're like the middlemen. Information is information. Truth is truth. You don't have to be a representative of any. What really matters is what people look into themselves, and not just take their word for it. So when I heard Mark Passio in his latest live stream 2 days ago, I think it was this live stream 202, he's talking about flat earth. He goes, I looked into it. I did more research than anybody out there. Trust me. Or don't even trust me. It's not flat. Flat earth is a psyop. It's manufactured by the CIA and the Tavistock Institute or whatever. Like, when was the Tavistock Institute and the CIA formed? Was it formed back in 200 BC when Eratosthenes conducted that experiment, or 270 BC when Aristarchus said, hey, I think the earth is round? Or when Newton even came up with the laws of gravitational force? Or maybe it was when Einstein back in 1900s when, CIA was formed before even that. No, that's not when the CIA was formed. Tavistock Institute wasn't even formed then. Did they form before all of this stuff, when everyone, all the ancient civilizations knew the earth was flat and not a sphere? Every civilization out there? I mean, even you would think that one out of all these ancient civilizations would say, hey, all these other ancient civilizations are wrong, because here, look, this is why it's a sphere. We got this photo that we took, or this drawing by this government Roman. The Romans drew a painting, and thus we know that it's a sphere, it's a globe. Which, and it kind of, look, I don't really attack them for it. Believe what you want. You did your own. If you say you did your own research, you did your own research. All I can do is say, hey, this is what I looked into. This is how I think about this position. This is what I think about others' position on it. And I did my own research, and I'm try to illustrate that. I give different points of view to it, different thought processes, different, whether it's through history, whether it's through the mainstream history, whether it's through mythological ancient texts, clay tablets, whatever, whether it's through just actual scientific evidence, and scientific experiments, whatever, or going through the actual math and the formulas involved, which also equates to excuse me, to history as well. It's like, when did they come up with the formula? Oh, well, you know, Newton came up with the formula in 1687. I don't remember exactly. But, you know, his formula wasn't actually tested and measured until the Cavendish experiment, which really wasn't an experiment, 111 years later in like 1788 or something like that. I don't know, 78. I don't know exactly the dates. But really, so Newton's law of gravity, a scientific law of gravity, he has a formula for it, wasn't measured and proven until 111 years later. Let's just say the Cavendish experiment was proof of Newton's law of gravitational force. Let's say it was proof of it. Let's just say it was the proof of it. Yet all that time, Newton's theory was a law. 111 years it was a law. No one else could run the experiment or prove it. Even Newton couldn't prove it. He couldn't provide evidence for it. He couldn't do experiments for it. Not even his kids, not even his grandkids, not even his grandkids. It took some other fella to do an experiment to say, hey, look, we've measured something and it fits into Newton's formula, and thus now we know for sure. We could say it's more than a law. I don't know, that's just dumb. All right. Check my like videos. Yeah, deeper I get into truther movement, seems like there's plants everywhere. Could be. I mean, I like listening to Max Egan. He's got some good things to say. I like listening to Mark Passio. He's got good things to say. But what I take it is they're just not, they haven't gone to the conclusion I've gotten to, so I can't put them past it, right? Maybe they'll get to it, maybe they won't. And maybe I'm at a point where, heck, there's still more to be revealed out there than I even think is possible. But the thing is, I won't know that until I keep looking. It's like if I just say, oh, I've looked into it, I've already come up with a conclusion, I don't need to look into it any further. At that point, you're never gonna know for sure. You've already stated it's concluded. I looked into it, final decision, it's done. So every time someone says, hey, look into it, and you know, I'll look into it, and it's like, I still haven't gotten anything out of it. And then you're gonna say, oh, Ebon, you're an idiot, how can you not know? It's like, well, here's what I think, and that's where I'll go. I won't say, oh, these people are stupid, or these people are falling for a CIA PSYOP, Tavistock Institute PSYOP, whatever. I'm gonna say, you know, I'd like to see the avenues of their research and how they got to the conclusion, because here's what I looked at. Here's the information that I have. I can't verify the sources, but if I just think about it in the perspectives that I like to look at things, either it's just through philosophical thinking or just a logical process or a strategic point of view, whatever, then yeah. All right, so King on my channel, I show how the world would operate similar to a galvanic cell. Yeah, I've seen that. You and your Dyson. The sun being a cathode, moon anode, the ocean an electrolyte, and the earth a salt bridge. Nathan says Joe Rogan did a complete 180 on the moon landing. He's hard bashing them. Now he believes everything they said is true. Yeah, Joe Rogan admitted on his show that he would sell out. Like they give him what he wants, the money, the fame, whatever. He'd even lie to his mom, right? You know, he said that. There's videos of him saying that. And so anytime someone says that, I mean, I think eventually they do sell out. Same thing with a comedian, progressive comedian. I just showed last night at the end of my stream, which is not everyone's going to watch a 4.5 hour poker stream. So I'm going to do a dedicated video about that one. Jimmy Dore, that's his name. So I was helping people live stream the Unity4J, hashtag Unity4J for Julian Assange. And yeah, there's even conspiracy theories about the whole Julian Assange and the WikiLeaks and stuff. And I don't know, but I mean, it's worth looking into. But so there's an interview with Jimmy Dore. I think it was the second Unity4J interview, and he goes, he's making fun of the people at MSNBC, Rachel Maddow and stuff. They're making like $30,000 a day on what they say, and he's going, yeah, I would say the same thing. No one's made me the offer yet. Once someone makes me an offer, yeah, I'll say whatever you want. That's when you should stop listening to me. It's like, how do we know when he reaches that point where he's making enough money where he would sell out? But that he would actually admit it to people in a live broadcast is like, why would people still want to listen to them? It's like, we already know that they have moral flexibility, I guess, that they're willing to lie for money. It's like, at that point, people should just stop listening to them. But they just listen to them more, it seems. They get more popular. They get more money. And they go, oh, this guy telling the truth. He's a truther. He's representative of truth. Like, no one needs to represent truth. Truth is truth. To actually say you're representing truth, you're representing God, you're representing whatever. Really? You're gonna say straight up that's what you're representing? All right. Let me ask you a couple questions then. Say, oh no, we don't have time for your questions. We got more important things to do. I mean, who are you? You're just little guys. Like, what? I guess truth or God doesn't really take little guys into consideration. What makes me little? My views, my subscriber amounts, amount of money that I make, maybe the amount of money I used to make. Is it the degree I have? Is it just because I'm a high school diploma fella? So I'm dumb? Dunning-Kruger effect? See what I did there? It's like, what makes me not special and makes you talking to other people, them being special? What's the difference? How did you guys get there? And if you want to prove your intellectual superiority, well, let's have an intellectual conversation. Let's see how superior you are with your intellectualness. See how smart you are. Let's look at your cognitive abilities compared to someone like me. I am the dumbest of the dumb. But, I keep trying to be smarter. So if you can't beat a dumbest of the dumb, self-admitted dumbass, while you perpetuate yourself as an intellectual elite, well, that should be a fun episode, huh? That would be just something, it's like some paid expert gamer having fun against some noobs, right? I mean, it'd be fun watching one of them have 127 kills and 0 deaths. I've done that, right? So prove it. Let's do it. Let's have that little game. I'm a nobody. It's like, what should you be afraid of? Just have like a 5-minute conversation. Obviously, you should make me look like a dumbass. And then all I have to do is just listen what they have to say. They're going to probably talk for the entire 5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And while all that time, I'm just going to be listening, and I'm going to just say one reply. Because when they talk a lot, there's usually an opening that you can actually see where they can be a hypocrite with. It's like, because they've done a lot of videos. I've done a lot of videos, but who was it that said, if you're telling the truth, you don't have to remember anything? It's like, look, if you lie, you have to remember it, because otherwise you're gonna be like, oh shit, did I say that this was that, or did I ever say in the past that it was this? you know, you're gonna pause. You're gonna be like, why is it so hard? Why are you taking so long to answer a yes or no question? And maybe people will notice. Many won't. Okay, so, but of course that never happens. The intellectual elite, the monetary elite, the famous elite, the governmental elite, whatever elite, they're above us. I'm pretty sure if you're watching my videos, they'll never think about talking to you. They'll never even think about talking to me. But, you know, unlike them, I have an open forum. You know, I may kick these agents out, especially those trolling, preventing conversation from occurring or interrupting the conversation. Heck, I'll even let them on for a little bit, as of the pizza guy, or right now LC King. But yeah, like, I don't have a thing go, hey, who are you? Okay, I'll let you in. Or what questions are you going to ask? Let me filter your questions before I answer them. I don't do that either. So, I mean, yeah. Frequency is eliminated. You don't need a good memory if you tell the truth. Let's see. Check my like videos. I think there's an unwritten rule. When you get to 1 million subs, you're no longer a truther. You are controlled or you lose your channel. I can see that. I think that's kind of like the path I want to see, because I'm telling you straight up now, I won't ever sell out. Ever. Unlike other people who say they will, I'm never going to do it. So what happens then? I have a feeling not only would I lose my channel, I'll probably lose my life. So this is hopefully people watching. Maybe you guys have it recorded. It's like, what happens in 5, 10, 20 years if I'm still going and I have 1 million subs, and all of a sudden I say something that they don't like me saying because they don't want a lot of people hearing it. Next thing you know, oh, Ebon Kim, he drowned, even though he's an expert swimmer. He can tread water for hours, because I do a lot of snorkeling, so I know how to stay afloat for a very, 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 very long time. Oh, he drowned while he was fishing. He has this little big old bump on his head. He must have hit himself with his fishing pole and drowned. That's how it's going to be explained. And I'm going to be like, nope, I'm not suicidal. I'm a great fisherman. I won't ever drown. I've lived 40 years of my life. I was in the U.S. Navy. I ain't someone who drowns. Yeah. Oh, boy. All right, let's see. Looking forward to Logan's movie in 2 days. You know what? I need to see the trailer. I haven't seen the trailer. You know, Logan Paul's one of those people with millions of views. And he's taking up the mantle of Flat Earth. He's being the representative of Flat Earth. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Again, I am not a representative of anything except for me, myself, and I. Maybe not I. But yeah, whatever. So, you know, it's I don't believe. That's my agnosticism. That's one thing I can count on. It's like, how would I know? It's just like the AI. It's like, how would they know? Like, if we're I mean, an AI, like, just the computer. I'm not saying it's like some different beings create different parts of the human anatomy. I don't know that. Most likely it's not, because we're an organism, right? But with AI and computers, it's pretty simple. There are different manufacturers, different parts, different people that come up with those ideas. So you wouldn't say that Babbage's is the creator of my current computer. No. Right? I wouldn't say just because I use the operating system that Bill Gates is the owner of my computer. Doesn't make sense to say that, right? So same concept. It's like you know, what if we were created? I mean, there are stories that say that humans were created by one supreme being, and then we were messed with or recreated in some other by some other being, etc. And that but still, because we were created in that original aspect, we still have that spark, the creative divine spark, etc. You say we don't. So it's how would we know? And how would we know? I mean, if God, the highest of the high, the first God, I guess, being, created other godlike beings but not as powerful as them, some limitations or something, whatever, we don't know what those limitations are. How do we differentiate those lesser gods than the original God itself? I mean, it would be like you know, you ever heard those stories of like a couple, they have like 50 to 60 kids, right? I mean, there's even ones that have like 100 kids. Like, wow, that mother is just, whew, I don't know how she does it. But it would just be like, okay, 100 siblings. Which one which one is the best of them? Or which one do you love most of those 100 kids? Which one has that genetic defect that we can't tell from just the exterior, whatever? I mean, there's just too many variables we just don't know of. And then we're talking about aspects that are way beyond what we know, the capabilities that they have or whatnot. It's like we can only say that they're gods because we can't pinpoint anything else about them, right? We don't even really know their names. There's different interpretations of their names. We don't even know if it's based off of one civilization that wrote about them or another civilization that wrote about them. Even if they're similar stories, we can't even differentiate. Hey, are they different stories? It's very much alike. It's very similar. It's like, how do we know? Okay, Nathan, don't much care for Logan P, where he did a mockery of the forest in Japan. Yeah, sure. Frequencies eliminated. As long as we get flat Earth in people's minds as much as possible, we're ahead. But yeah, I can see that. I think as long as we're still stating what we're stating, and I think the positions too. Like when Mark Passio says people who believe in the flat Earth, it's like, no, like yeah, I get there are many Christians and maybe other people who believe in certain religions that believe in it. I am not religious at all. I am an agnostic through and through. I'm not even an atheist. An atheist is someone who believes in nothing at all. My part as far as where belief goes is like, I don't know. That's why. That's the thing. It's like someone tells me something. Do I believe it or do I don't? I mean, the atheist would say, I don't believe him. There's no way. He says, don't believe him at all. And then there's the other person who's like, oh, I believe him. He said something. I believe him. Don't need no evidence. I believe him. And for me, agnostic is like, well, he could be telling the truth. He could be lying. I really wouldn't know. I'd have to look into it a little bit more. But even if I found out, you know, where do I go to find out? It's like, I have to talk with someone else. Well, I'm in the same problem. It's like, is there physical evidence? Is there like a security camera? You know, is that security camera, did that person, when he made that statement, know that the security camera was there or not? It's like, maybe he was acting, maybe he wasn't, maybe he knew the camera was there and I was gonna look into it. It's like, how smart is this fella? How far is he planning ahead of time? It's like, how would I know? It's just, that's the agnosticism for you. It's like, I can't come up with a concrete conclusion. I just have to say, you know, and I'll look into it. And the more I look into it, you know, I until I have a feeling that I know, I really don't know. And even when I know, if I have to make assumptions, then I'm making assumptions. And that's not proof. LC King, gods are just aspects of nature, nature being everything we can point to as real and all-encompassing. It's very pagan of you. I don't think that's a bad thing. Frequencies illuminated. Religion is just another control mechanism. If it's not scientism, it's religion. Yeah, another control mechanism. And that's why we have that term scientism, because it's not about actual science. It's about another following the gatekeepers of a particular organization or sect, where they are representing something to the people out there. It's like, look, I'm the representative. I mean, even our representatives in the U.S. government, the U.S. representatives, that's what they're called. They don't represent us. I mean, there's what is it? 438 U.S. representatives. Maybe I got that wrong. I mean, there's 100 senators, because 2 in each state. That's easy. But I think for like U.S. senators or U.S. representatives, 300, 400 people. If you think about it, around 400 people, U.S. representatives represent almost 400 million Americans. I don't think that's representing anything at all. Does my U.S. representative in Massachusetts, or now I live in Nebraska, does my U.S. representative in Nebraska represent me? No. Not at all. The U.S. representative represents themselves. Maybe their party, where they have a structure and they don't deviate from that structure. That's what they represent. LC King pagan just means a person from the country, but I know what you mean. Yeah. I've been called pagan. I've been called a heretic. I've been called whatever. Even when I say, hey, I follow the teachings and the whether it's the allegories or the parables of Jesus Christ and what he taught, it's like, I'm a follower of that. I think that's the path that we should follow. It's a good path. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's good. It's not violent at all. You know, it's having a defendable position against violence. Not using violence to prevent violence, but using defense mechanisms to prevent violence being done upon you, and having that perpetuate in the person who's doing the violence. You want to stop the person from doing a violent thing. If he can do it peacefully, I think that's better. But if he can't, again, like what I said in other videos, if someone's doing violence against you or someone else, that person who's committing the violence can't claim victimhood, because they're the ones perpetuating the violence. The person who's defending from that violence can defend themselves in any way, shape, or form to prevent that violence from being done to them. So if someone is about to rape, if this violent person is about to rape someone, and that person that's about to be raped or is being raped shoots and kills that person, good. That's what you get. You shouldn't have initiated that violence in the first place. Yet now society says that person who was protecting themselves from violence didn't have to do that, so they should go to prison for however many years. Like, no. Person was never going to do anything violent, was never going to shoot that person if that person wasn't having done violence against them. The person who's doing violence, that person doesn't get a say in how they get counterattacked or defended against. It's like, well, I'm a rapist, but the person cut me up into a million pieces. That's just wrong. It's like, you did the wrong in the first place. You would never got cut up into pieces if you didn't do that stupid ass shit. So it's all, it's just weird. It's like the whole Israel Zionism thing that's going on right now. Oh, we were victims in the past, and it's not even the same people who are being actual victims. Like all of them have passed away now. It's like, oh, my family were victims. It's kind of like the slavery thing, you know. It's like, oh, my ancestors were slaves, so I should get something for that. It's like my past ancestors were victims. We can now make victims of that because of our past. No wrong rights another wrong. If you're doing wrong, it's wrong. You get no excuses or passes for doing wrong, period. So, and what sucks is society is starting to just say, hey, they were victims, or their ancestors were victims, or whatever. They get a free pass to do exactly what was done to their ancestors. Like, what? Like, what? This is horrible, really. Frequencies eliminated. Safe to say the generations existing now are lost as fuck. It's the future generations that may have hope. Yeah, I would say no one's ever completely lost. Like, you could say I was lost maybe a few months ago, if not a year or two ago. I'm here now. I'm not lost. I've figured things out. I'm found. The people out there that think the complete opposite, right? They think I'm lost now because I think a certain way that they don't want to even consider for not even a day, but for maybe even a minute. They wouldn't even consider it. And I'll say, King, true, the law of nature is do no harm. Jesus, Buddha, and older Eastern religions taught this. Yeah, do no harm. Don't do violence. It's like, it's simple. It's like, just don't. And if you do, you're gonna have consequences, and you shouldn't. And then if you're gonna claim victimhood of those consequences by initiating violence, look, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, then anyone could commit violence on you, and then say, hey, because you retaliated, you need to go to prison, or you need to lose your life. It's like, no, that doesn't make any sense at all. You would even think of the same thing. It's like, it's a weird frame of thought to think that way. I don't know. I don't even know if I can think that way. That's such a hard weird way of thinking. Oh, frequencies eliminated. Lost meaning we have no clue about this realm. Just a lot of speculation. Yeah. It sucks that we had to speculate. It sucks that we are even prevented from finding out on our own. Again, the gatekeepers, the control mechanisms are there, so ordinary people can't find out. It's like, there's so many ways of stopping you. You know, there's the government that's going to say, no, you cannot. It's like, yeah, we have a thing called the Constitution. Sorry. National security, or for your protection. Or protection of others. Like, we don't know if you're going to be doing this or that. It's like, well, freedom of the press. Can I take pictures? I mean, I should be able to take pictures. It's like, it's public property. It's public land. I go, no. It's like, well, I'm taking pictures anyway. First Amendment. He's like, are you in media? And I go, yes. It's like, what media? It's like, well, I have a formation of corporation, but it doesn't matter. I'm a citizen of the United States. It doesn't matter if I'm a corporation or if I'm a media. It's freedom of the press. So, I mean, it wasn't important for me. Like, when I was taking pictures out in Columbus, when the police said, you know, I asked the police, it's like, hey, can I take pictures over there? He goes, no. Like, I was like, okay, well, I got Zoom. I don't need a. Like, what was more important was to actually get the picture. And it's not like it would change anything if I take a picture from that spot that was like 20 feet away than the spot where I was in now. But there may come a time where I'm like, hey, there's only one way I can actually get a picture of it, and it's be over there. It's public land, and I'm going there, and police will say, no, you can't. And I go, yes, I can. Constitution of the United States, First Amendment. And they can do whatever they want, and then I'll retaliate, because they're the ones committing the violence. They're the ones who are not upholding the Constitution, and therefore they're in the wrong. At least in the governmental form. but also the violent form, right? I'm not there to cause violence. They're the ones perpetuating the violence, instigating the violence, initiating the violence. Well, what am I going to do? I'm going to protect myself. So that could be, it could be a bad situation, but policemen need to understand that first and foremost. And if they don't, then we have a serious problem, a worse problem than just the individuals, the citizens that are living here. It's tough. Again, it's you know, I could have gone on and had one of those videos where I'm just look, what's the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution? Do you understand the Bill of Rights? Policeman will go, yeah, blah 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 blah. You cannot go here. And it's like, it's public land. I'm gonna go there. It's like, go back now, or you'll be under arrest. I'm like, arrest me then. And then they'll arrest me, or maybe he'll pull out his gun and shoot me just because I want to take a picture of on a certain spot in public land because, well, I have the right to be able to do that. It's funny, but you know, you gotta pick your battles. It's like, cops got better things to do. I got better things to do. It's like, we'll see each other again on the battlefield. Maybe we won't fight now. We'll fight it out later. Because really, if you're not protecting the Constitution of the United States, foreign or domestic, someone else has to. The Constitution is never null due to emergency powers being enacted. Never is the Constitution ever to be nullified in any shape, form, time period, or anything, emergency or not. It is designed to prevent these things like emergency powers from preventing the freedom of what's natural, God-given, of course, what God, right. That's the formation of the United States Constitution. That's the formation of the government, to prevent government from intruding on individual rights. That's the biggest, number one piece aspect of the United States Constitution, the formation of the United States of America in the first place. And if you don't understand that, I don't understand you, where you're coming from. You're just a huge agent then, who doesn't even understand the formation and the Bill of Rights. And the whole reason that the American Revolution was there in the first place. And that's going by the mainstream corporate media history. So, and I'm an Asian. And you're like, why is this an Asian no more? This is about this. You're just like, does it even matter? You know? The stash says it all. Frequencies eliminated. Seems the motivation of the masses are getting weaker by the day regarding their rights. People seem too complacent. Yeah, they are. I mean, even I'm pretty complacent, but of course, I'm just there to take pictures. If it was something more urgent, where I think the people had a right and needed to know, and by taking a picture of something, yeah, I'd probably be strapping my sidearm on my leg. I can't hide it because then it would go against the state law. Not that I care, but it's, we have public, you know, we can carry. It's not conceal and carry. You can carry publicly on certain areas of land, public land, and stuff like that. So, hey, if I needed to take pictures somewhere where I knew I could carry my sidearm, I'd carry my sidearm. And then that'd be a totally different story. But again, like, how often do I think that something like that is going to be necessary in Columbus, Nebraska? 0.0005%. It's like nothing happens in Columbus, Nebraska. It's one of the reasons I moved here. We just mind our own business, grow our own food, fish, hunt, whatever. Try to live as naturally as you can without the interruptions of governance and politics and legislation and city stuff and whatever, you know. That's kind of why I dig this place. It's It's like you're not gonna go across so many police officers or state patrol or whatever just bothering you and hassling you. It's like, dude, why are you even hassling me for? It's like, what's your purpose here? What are you doing? It's like, leave me alone. That's why I'm here. Anyways, it's been an hour and a half. I'm gonna see what my wife is up to, see, and then I might do another live stream. I don't know what yet. Maybe it's the stuff that I've been planning, or maybe an open topic, who knows. So thank you for joining me if you're watching, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks.